Recently, a video came across my YouTube recommended that piqued my interest. In short, back in 2010, a video was created documenting a creepypasta-like occurrence in Minecraft that, in my opinion, is historic to the game because it appears to have started the creepy thing I'd not build trend in the game. Yes, while this was around the time the Herobrine legend began proliferating, this is perhaps the other type of creepy Minecraft legend that is associated with this game. In any case, this particular video explored the claims made by this player 14 years ago known as Dead Skin Mask, nice Slayer reference, by initially looking at a Minecraft forum post made by the same player around the same time of the initial upload before also exploring DSM's own world. In short, the answer was already there, simply out in the open, yet not many had realized this in the 14 years since. But in any case, the creator of the exploration video, Tronisaurus, does often play up a bit of the coincidences that happen upon exploring this world.
The dirt bridge, right? If you continue building it in a straight line, it's a few blocks away from perfectly connecting to that tower.
Of course, on its surface, just having a base you did not build show up in your own world is already creepy enough, as that was the premise of DSM's original video. But no matter, things get weirder as time goes on in the video. While it is figured out why this glitch happened, the actual reason for why it happens isn't really known. In addition, there are other strange occurrences that happen in the video specifically tied to the mechanics of the game at the time that are, in effect, relics of a lost time. For instance, they use this external mapping program that seems to display one version of the world, but when they load the world in-game, it is a very similar world where everything is missing. In this video, I'm going to look at a lot of the early technical aspects of Minecraft and explain what exactly is going on. While I respect storytelling, in this case, I feel it is just as interesting to look at how early versions of this 15-year-old game are so different to what it is now. The Red Square. I cannot take credit for this because someone else solved this mystery, the Red Square of Death as Tronisaurus essentially calls it. This is entirely a glitch caused by UI elements rendering improperly and as well the skybox sort of falling apart. It's essentially the texture of the sun from what it looks like. You see, going into the Alpha 1.2.0 update, this was just a bug around how the night to day transition was rendered. You can actually see this other related glitch where, yeah, it's just a glitch in how these textures were rendered. This was a more than insignificant part of the video, so I felt it was worth discussing for a moment. How did DSM miss his base? So this isn't really a bug, but more so how speed was felt in the game. Running wasn't a feature until beta 1.8, so for the first 2.5 years of Minecraft's development, you only had two walking speeds, normal and shift walking. The fastest you would go without a flying mod like single player commands was by minecart. So with that said, consider how your perception of this game where you could only see about 12 to 16 chunks ahead of you, where walking that distance basically took a minute to do, and as well, you just came out of the nether portal for the first time, would differ to the present day. Right now, we know a block in the nether is 8 meters in the overworld. We can run, nay, ride a horse if we wanted, and have our render distances set to 32 or even further with the power of Optifine or Iris, and yet none of this was the case 14 years ago. A second part of this video was released that serves as an interview of DSM. DSM does basically echo this same sentiment because even he points out not really knowing how far the nether would have taken them.
I mean, it was a long time ago, but I remember just genuinely being freaked out. Yeah, I mean, it was right after the Halloween update. So I legitimately was just freaked out by the whole thing. I don't know. I mean, at the time I thought there was just like a bug or, something like in the game code where it was like, they did build this thing in here and it was just super rare to find and I'd never seen anything like it. So I'm like, I guess I'll record it and put it up. So I think I got lost primarily because I was totally convinced that anytime you went into a nether portal and came out of another one, you were just way away from where you were.
Back in 2010, when the update first came out, from what I can find, these update announcements never told everyone 1 meter in the nether is 8 meters in the overworld. While technically it does, it is still pretty vague about it. Move 10 meters in the nether, portal out, and you're hundreds of meters away. Isn't actually the case at all. That would only be 80 meters. This would actually suggest that each meter itself should be 100 meters in the overworld. The only reason I bring this up is because I feel like the perspective of what Minecraft is like in 2024 really distorts what Minecraft was like in 2010. Hell, even what it was like in 2012. I remember this game before horses became such a significant part of the game, before being phased out by elytras, of course. It was a time where it was impressive to build a railroad network in your world, whereas now I look back at a random obscure snapshot and wish Mojang kept this one acceleration glitch that made minecarts go super fast. And on that note, minecarts themselves are kinda antiquated because who would want that when iceboat highways in the nether are the way to go? Okay, so let's get to the science of this. What we know is DSM's world is titled World 1, and in addition is also from Minecraft Alpha 1.2.0_02. On top of that, we also know there is a world that has the same base DSM found that is from an allegedly pirated copy of Minecraft. Now, here's the thing. That is totally plausible. Even without me explaining why, we know this because Tronisaurus's video reveals a new actor, Zappa. Zappa revealed way back in 2010 that DSM's weird base actually comes from a pirated copy of the game. On top of that, Zappa, who just so happened to still exist, who was reached out to by Tronisaurus, who also just so happened to have a copy of this very world, though granted, one that he had played on for a while, ended up sending this world to the video producer, which is now available to download for all of us to look at. Yes, DSM's world has been and still is available to download through Mediafire, and Tronisaurus uploads Zappa's world to Mediafire as well. But anyway, we have both of these worlds and can confirm this is the case. But here's the thing. Why did a pirated copy of Minecraft come with someone else's world? Well, you see, the game was actually a lot easier to redistribute back in the day. It really would have been as simple as compressing the .minecraft folder and sending it to someone else, plus it wouldn't have been that big of a file anyway. As an example, the launcher functionally just checked if you verify with Mojang servers once. The only time it would need to do that again is if there was an update and you were downloading the game again. Otherwise, as long as you have a valid minecraft.jar, all the appropriate libraries and the sound files that are located in the resources folder, you got a working copy of this game. And this is how you end up with Zappa's World 1 file and DSM's World 1 file. You see, the reason for this combination of the save files is thought to be because of residual files that the game didn't fully delete. This is especially more apparent if, say, you have some files left over in a save file with the exact same name as the new world. Okay, so side note, until Minecraft Beta 1.3, you only had 5 world slots. Of course, you could have more just by renaming these, but this was how the game was designed at first. So I have to imagine DSM probably booted the game, saw World 1 already had data in it and went, what? Nah, fuck that, and deleted it. Then started his world, but only came to realize the game didn't fully delete this world he had never so much as loaded into. Alternatively, maybe he deleted it in Windows but somehow only deleted some of it. So now let's talk about how Minecraft worlds are saved. Level.dat. This is the most important file of your Minecraft save because it has all the rules for world generation. This has always been the case. If you open any level.dat up in an NBT editor, you will find the seed. You will also find stuff like spawn coordinates. Currently, Minecraft stores player data as these UUID files. Previously, they were just usernames. But before even that, player data was stored directly in the level.dat. Why is that? Because Minecraft was originally single player. Yes, I know multiplayer existed in some way, but in terms of post-infdev Minecraft, this is how the game worked for a while. Of course, you did also have multiplayer, but multiplayer worlds actually worked a bit differently to how single player worked. You see, if you download a single player world from someone, you load in with their inventory and where they last exited the world. This was intended. I mean, no one else is loading into that world because there is only one player at a time. But of course, multiplayer was different, and eventually that did make its way into how single player also works. So the notion that there needed to be multiple profiles saved in a single player world really wasn't necessary yet. Well, not only is this a bit of a difference between how the save files work, but this actually becomes very important going forward. So let's generate a Minecraft alpha world. Wonderful, this is a beautiful world. Alright, let's delete level.dat. And would you look at that? The world also disappears from the game. Okay, so then let's generate a new world. If you walk around a bit, soon you will begin to notice a few things. Yep, welcome back to that world that we deleted. So here's the deal. These chunks with the base are clearly here because they were not fully deleted. But that now brings me to the next part of Minecraft's save file format. You see, there have been 4 different save formats for Minecraft following InfDev. These are Alpha Level, MC Region, and Anvil. The 4th one is an updated version of Anvil that exists because of the 1.17 1.18 Caves and Cliffs update, which changed the height limits and added the deeper caves. From what I can surmise, this was never given a new name, but still saves as MCA files like previous worlds. Anvil was released with release 1.2. McRegion came with beta 1.3. What the original Anvil did was actually raise the height limit from 128 meters to 256, and what McRegion did was, well, we'll get to that in a moment. The focus instead is on Alpha Level. What the level format did was if you just generate a world, it creates a metric assload of files. We have only been in this world for a few seconds and there's already thousands of these tiny files. Let's talk about hard drive I/O for a second. What is faster to move? 10 100 megabyte files that roughly add up to a gigabyte, or half a gigabyte of files numbering up to, let's say 40,000 different files. Well, here's the thing. It is actually astronomically faster to move 10 100 megabyte files because imagine moving each individual page in a book 2 meters away versus moving a whole book at a time. This is how computers work, where they have to write each individual file if moving between hard drives, or if they have to reassign a directory to a file if, say, you're moving from one folder to another. And in the present day, with SSD speeds, this is no more apparent because, at least for me, more often than not, I can move 100 megabytes in like 2 seconds, whereas 40,000 files will take a moment. Let's come back to this in a bit. One of the biggest mysteries towards the end of Tronisaurus's video is why this world that Zappa sent, who by the way sent both the original world and a converted version of it, can be viewed in this external map viewer, but can't be loaded into in the game. I'm sure some people in the audience are about to see what the solution to this mystery is, but let's keep looking at what they experience. First, they have an inventory, yet they spawn into this cave that is pitch black. They walk around and eventually realize they are standing where the base should be, but it is missing. On top of that, there's a lot of oddities such as saplings having durability. Yet, in their mapping program, they can clearly see a base on this world. I couldn't find their exact mapping program, they keep calling it Mappy, but hey, past me, why don't you take a look at the title bar so you know how to spell the program next time you gotta Google it. Audience, if you know the answer, say it with me. Why are you loading this in Alpha 1.0.16? You see, this program can read all the Minecraft save formats. When they put in the Alpha 1.2 world into it, it works fine. When they put Zappa's world into it, it works fine. Except Zappa's world doesn't use Alpha Level because it already got converted to MC Region. In fact, I even foreshadowed this earlier when I mentioned Zappa's world was only about 20 files. What I never mentioned is that McRegion's whole purpose was to improve performance by combining all the chunk files in Alpha Level into region files. MC Region comes from MC Region, which was created by Scavolus. Scavolus themselves is actually a pretty important figure to Minecraft because despite never being a Mojang employee, they made the MC Region mod that optimized saving in the game. Of note, Anvil basically is MC Region, but slightly altered and changed to work with the increased height limit. Scavolus also made the OptiMine mod, which was meant to improve performance of the game, which later was picked up by SP614X, who eventually combined it with the OptiFog mod, which became OptiFine. Scavolus is in the credits of the game precisely for MC Region and could basically be credited for creating a much more sensible save format for this game. So here's what happened. The mapping program was reading the undoctored MCR McRegion files, while the game had no files to actually read from, except for level.dat. Level.dat has not just the seed, but also the position of the player and their inventory. When you load into this empty map, it generates a new world while giving you the inventory of the newer version of the game. But furthermore, these saplings with durability, these are actually saplings for future trees. I'll get to that in a moment, but if I load into the world in, let's say, beta 1.7.3, everything is up to spec. Turns out, there's a little shelter that was built into this cave by Zappa. Exiting it, you see the rest of the world and this valley. Now, in defense of Tronisaurus and his friend, the name of this world does say Minecraft Alpha 1.0.16. yeah, that is maybe only helpful for regenerating this wold. We know this wold was probably first generated in this version because, I mean, just look at this. This is the exact wold. Now, real quick, it is worth mentioning that somehow this wold does get even weirder. For some reason, when they put DSM's wold onto a server to conduct the interview on, it keeps corrupting. I don't know why it is doing this, but I do know this is probably an issue with writing data. This could be something where maybe the seed is regenerating since it is now generating the same seed but in a much newer version of the game. It could be something where maybe certain files were lost when copying them, but really this doesn't quite add up. For an alpha wold to even be playable in current Minecraft, you have to convert it through each level format. This means, say, making a wold in alpha 1.2.0, loading it in anything between beta 1.3 and release 1.2, then load it into like 1.6.4, then load it again in the modern version to now play it. There's a lot that could go wrong in that, especially if you're moving files a lot, but truth be told, this type of chunk erroring is something I've sometimes seen, but never known what the cause of it was. Based on my experience, the best opinion I could give on this is that this is a read-write error somehow. As for that read inventory stuff, this is maybe the last unexplained thing. So you see, modern Minecraft uses a different version of item IDs than old Minecraft did. Perhaps /give honeydew4664 invokes a bit of nostalgia. This is because nowadays the game stores items as Minecraft:item name. The thing is, this is because of a weird stopgap that had to be developed within the game's item ID system. Let's talk about wood. So Minecraft has two item IDs reserved for wood, being wood logs and wooden planks. Planks were one of the first blocks to be in the game and had item ID 5. Saplings, conveniently, had item ID 6. Logs had item ID 17. Now, what happens when wood, which retroactively we know as oak wood, gets expanded and also includes birch wood? Well, you see, wood as we know it today didn't happen for a while. Only in release 1.2.4 did we get spruce, birch, and jungle wooden planks. But until then, all wood logs would craft into wooden planks, or oak wood planks. Yet beta 1.2 added birch and spruce logs. Beta 1.5 added birch and spruce saplings. Previously, all trees dropped the same sapling. And even when jungle got added in 1.2, it took this incremental update to add planks. Now here's the thing, does that mean, I don't know, birchwood logs got like IMID 35, but planks got like IMID 200? No. In fact, all of these items fall under the original oak variants, but they get a sub-ID that you would type in as give absolute problem 5642 for birch planks. 0 was oak, 1 was spruce, and 3 through 5 would eventually be jungle, acacia, and dark oak, respectively. Right now, I would be demonstrating this command, but unfortunately, it seems like the give command didn't fully work until at least the release of the game. But anyway, these subsets are why petrified wood slabs exist, because all slabs used to be a subset of block ID 44, which on its own was a stone slab. Yes, this means wooden slabs had to be broken with a pickaxe. Though, interestingly, wooden stairs were their own block, so were cobblestone stairs and basically every stair variant afterwards. Yet all the wooden slabs would eventually fall under item ID 126, and the stone wooden slabs would no longer be craftable, yet remain in the game for compatibility reasons. But here's the thing, this sub-ID also is shared by the game for tools, specifically for durability. Yes, if you explore the level.dat file, you'll find that these slightly used tools actually have their durability stored in this third value, which is also used for the game to distinguish these saplings. The wold I'm using to demonstrate this is from beta 1.7.3, so I have wooden slabs, stone slabs, these saplings, and these tools. The NBT data shows exactly this. So why did these saplings have a durability bar? Well, it's because how the game actually renders the durability bar is it subtracts the sub-ID from the total durability of the tool. In fact, you can kind of glitch this, I found by accident, where if I gave it the sub-ID of like -3 on a pickaxe, I actually got 3 extra blocks that I could break before it started counting down the durability of the tool. And of course, once that sub-ID reaches the durability threshold of the tool, it breaks the tool. Obviously, saplings don't have durability, which is why it gives you the full green bar of durability, because it's never going to break. So now the obvious question becomes, why does any of this matter? To me, when I first played Minecraft back in 2012, I didn't imagine it would be a game that I would still care about over 10 years later. In 2021, I made an hour-long video, still the longest edited video I've released, talking about my nostalgia for the game, and in 2012, I could not see that happening. But more so because this game should have come and went by the time the decade was up. Instead, Minecraft is now 15 years old and is a totally different game to what it once was. Anywhere you look, it feels like the game is different. I remember in 1.16 when Pigmen were replaced with Piglins, where, yeah, they kinda became more useful, but like this one enemy went mostly unchanged for years. In addition, there's been a noticeable conversation around the music of this game. Even I ended my hour-long video briefly talking about C418's contributions to this game, and I find his music to be the most nostalgia-invoking in this game because, well, that's just what I grew up hearing. Yet, there's debate over the newer tracks not fitting in with the vibe of the game, notable because they weren't composed by C418, but by artists Lena Rain, Kumi Tanioka, Samuel Oberg, and Aaron Sheroff, as of the most recent update. The thing is, I think these songs are perfectly fine. This game already had a very ambient soundtrack because C418 had to answer the question, what the hell kind of music goes into a game about nothing? The answer was pieces like Sweden, yet we still got Stahl as a record. For an update that overhauls the Nether as much as it did, I failed to see how a piece like Chrysopia betrays such an ethos set by C418 in 2010, and Pig Step feels like a more energetic style. Of course, Minecraft has changed, but it's always going to because it inherently was a very transient game from the start. 1 million people bought this game by January of 2011. The game had just entered beta, by the way, it still wasn't finished. So 1 million people were buying a game with the promise that it was going to change because it wasn't finished yet. And really, even the continual updates following the game's release that have become core to its identity are a treat that is mutually beneficial to the player as it has been Microsoft's bottom line. The game won't stay the same because it never has, yet at its core, it's still the same game. But so much has changed with it that the preservation of the game ends up being about the history of it. At some point, everything I just described was just how the game was. It's like the ladder gap technique, or the minecart boosters. This type of information was known back then because it was an actual mechanic of the game, but now is entirely useless because the game has changed so much. And yet, I still find an appeal to some of these old versions. There's certain things about it that do make the game more appealing in a certain way. I personally like Alpha 1.2.6 because this is as bare bones as you can get, in my opinion, while still having the game resemble the identity of Minecraft. But I also like Beta 1.7.3 for the totally different reason that the game feels as refined as this era could get, while still feeling like old Minecraft. As Beta 1.8 simply feels too modern to me because it feels like how I first experienced the game. Yet 1.16 I like a lot because of the overhauled Nether, but at the moment, it still feels somewhat like the current version minus all the height stuff. In that way, 1.16 feels like the end of a very particular era in my mind of this game. These versions are still around and can be easily played by anyone. The best way of experiencing anything before 1.6 is to use Betacraft, as it is very comprehensive in its catalog of the now ancient Minecraft versions. But the greatest benefit to its archival and documentation of this game's progress is how one can relive it. At least, as close to reliving as possible. And by doing so, a 14-year-old mystery that has interested many may now be put to rest as a moment from the past. Many thought it was fake, but by rediscovering the past, we now know this was a very strange house in Minecraft that Dead Skin Mask did not build.